On the surface, Zimbabwe appears to be on the mend and back to what passes as normal in this beleaguered and divided country. The rich and well-connected continue to indulge in a luxurious lifestyle.
If I want to drive a Rolls Royce, I've got one. If I want to drive a Bentley, I've got one.
For the urban middle class, food is widely available in the supermarkets.
Anytime you get $1, you are rest assured if you go into a shop, you will find something to buy.
While the rural poor remain poor, but no longer in fear of political violence.
You see, there's a crowd of people here. Yes, they are attending this meeting, celebrating, yes, thanking God for the improvement.
If there were to be a report card on the first year of Zimbabwe's inclusive government, it might read, a good start, could do better, but with a very uncertain future. The BBC has only recently been allowed back into Zimbabwe. For me, it was the first time in a decade, and after several undercover trips to the country, that I've been able to walk through the streets of the capital city without fear of arrest and to report comparatively freely. I started at Harare General Hospital, which was closed due to the collapse in the city's sewage works when I was here a year ago. Today it's reopened, though coping with difficulty. The AIDS clinic is overwhelmed, wards remain closed, and the staff stretched to the limit.
We have 6 wards, neonatal units, 6 wards and 2 are working. We don't have enough staff. If we have staff and we have enough equipment, we'll open those wards.
Infant mortality remains high, and the World Health Organization say the average life expectancy of a woman in Zimbabwe remains at 35 years. Children are back at school, but not for long. Teachers, like Julius, are about to go on strike. They've been patient for long enough, they argue, but can't carry on living on $150 a month. Food may be available, but with only $1 a day to spend, you can't buy meat or much else beside. Potatoes have become the family diet. He took me home with him, which is 2 rooms he rents for $100 a month, and explained that he bought the TV 8 years ago, when he was earning 4 times what he is today. So what has the inclusive government done for him?
Politically, the inclusive government has brought peace. And socially and economically, I think they've managed to make kids return to school, teachers return to work, nurses, doctors, and what have you. We can't say things have gone good for us, but they've changed positively, slightly positively for us. How many did you get? 20, so that's your answer.
But he'll go on strike, he says, because he and his family have suffered enough. His younger daughter was born when he wasn't being paid at all, and the family was starving.
She's 3 years old. She's 3 years old, but she looks like a 2-year-old. You see, I feel like crying whenever I look at my daughter. She was really affected. She reminds me of the history that I would want to remember.
Who do you blame for Zimbabwe's problems?
Well, that one is a difficult question to answer, but I can say our politicians. I can't mention who exactly.
You're afraid to mention?
Yes. I'm afraid to mention that.
I invite...
After almost 30 years in power, Robert Mugabe reluctantly agreed to a power-sharing arrangement after he failed to achieve a majority in the 2008 elections with his political opponent, the leader of the Movement for Democratic Change, Morgan Tsvangirai.
I, Morgan Richard Tsvangirai,
Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai and his MDC have repeatedly accused President Robert Mugabe and his Zanu PF party of failing to keep to the conditions or timetable of the power-sharing agreement. The MDC argue that they are keeping their side of the political agreement, for example, by holding outreach meetings like these to consult with the people about a new constitution. Largely credited with bringing economic stability to the country, the party is enjoying huge popular support. But could expectation be too high?
Don't fail us. Keep it up. Don't let us down.
We want to deliver real change in form of dignity.
The overseas aid used to reopen schools and hospitals is running out, and so is goodwill. Strikes are threatened, and the party blame their partners for what the inclusive government have failed to deliver.
Restore people's freedom, freedom of speech, and freedom of movement.
Let us observe the rule of law. Let us respect human rights. Let us be a government which does their things transparently. Let us be accountable to our people. Let us make sure that we deliver real change to our people. Let us make sure that the people of Zimbabwe have a better life.
As far as Zanu PF is concerned, the inclusive government is working.
I, for myself, am very happy with the success we've scored in the constitution-making front. And for all I know, the inclusive government is alive. It's a government which was created out of two protagonists. You don't expect it to work that smoothly as a single government which is elected in an election.
But essential parts of the political agreement between the two parties, like freedom of the media, are still lacking. The BBC may be allowed to report here, but those trying to set up an independent daily newspaper in competition to the state-run media are not.
We've just bought new equipment and we are hoping to bring in more journalists.
The editor applied for his license almost a year ago. While his staff go through the motions of producing a paper, he's still waiting for permission to print. Why?
We cannot really say for sure, but we suspect that the government, the old order, the Zanu PF part of the government, is feeling as if it's being steamrolled into embarrassing agreements. So they're taking their time, they want to be in charge, and they'll make sure that everybody knows who's running the show. That's more important to them than the actual media freedom.
So what has the inclusive government done for you?
Apart from verbal support, moral support, nothing.